Hey, and welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the things that we can do when someone is suffering from hyperkyphosis. Now, hyperkyphosis is like an excessive rounding in the upper back, and that can be structural for some people because, they were born like that or their parents had that same situation, so they kind of copied it and it became part of the structure of their body. But it can also just simply be related to bad posture, someone who's constantly hunched over. And generally, when someone is hunched over, it also says something about their character traits, their personality, and the way that they feel about themselves. So posture speaks a lot about how people look at themselves. And generally, when someone is hunched and the back is rounded, it can have to do with their confidence levels and their inability to present themselves to the world. So this tends to be a pattern for people who show those kind of structures in their physical body. So never think it's only something physical, that's my point. So obviously when we work with hyperkyphosis, we focus on neutralizing the upper back and creating more space. So like I've explained in previous videos, breathing exercises will be very, very helpful. Vayus, Nadi Shodhana, Prana Vayu, the three-part breath, they will all be super powerful in order to really lengthen that upper back and create space and bring the air here and here in order to lengthen and keep and kind of avoid or remove the hunch. But there's also maybe some physical practices that we can do in order to release that. Now, obviously, first thing we can do is Setu Bandha. That should be very clear to you that when we do Setu Bandha, it really removes the curve from the upper back. And that can be done really, really slowly. We can do Paschimottanasana, Dandasana before we go slightly forward into Paschimottanasana with the belt, like we have just seen in the previous video as well. This really helps in straightening out the upper back as well as lengthening the lower back. So it has that double effect. And then there is a posture that I think is excellent for really helping to restructure the upper back, and that is supported fist pose, supported Matsyasana, and we do it on 2 blocks. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. So in supported Matsyasana, the aim is really to lift the chest and to create space and to remove the excessive curve that can exist in the upper back. So here I want my student to slowly come back. Yeah, and I'm going to place this block exactly in between her shoulder blades. Good. And then here. The next block is going to go under her head. Exactly. Nice. And then she can release her hands. Are you comfy? She can release her hands, and then she can cross her legs or she can extend her legs, depending on how her lower back is. So I know that she has a slight lower back injury, so I'm not sure if I'm happy about this. So I think I would prefer her to do a cross-legged position. I think it will be better for exactly like that, or what's it called, with the soles of the feet together. So I feel it's better for your back, because when they extend the legs, usually it puts a little bit more strain on the lower back. So see whatever is comfortable for your student. This looks better to me, am I right? Yeah. So then she can close the eyes here. And are you comfortable? Okay. In order for this to be uncomfortable and not cause any strain, the block, the first block, really has to be right between the shoulder blades. Sometimes you might see that someone's neck is uncomfortable, and that means that maybe the other block can go one stand lower. So, but in her case, I think she's quite okay here. And then she's really going to close her eyes and just rest and allow the back to really, drop and everything to just do its work on its own. And I would ideally want someone to stay into this posture for 5 to 7 minutes. So it's quite long, but if you don't stay long enough, it doesn't have the same effect. So imagine putting a session together for someone who has these kind of postural issues or this excessive rounding in the back. Again, we would spend at least 15 to 20 minutes on meditation and different breathing practices to help with this alignment. Then we would choose 4 or 5 asanas to work with, which really focus on lengthening the spine and opening the chest in this case. And then we would finish with something like this, which is more a therapeutic posture, and she can stay really for 5 to 7 minutes relaxing. And once we finish that, so imagine she's been here for 5 to 7 minutes, she comes out slowly and she presses her elbows into the floor, and you help her so that she doesn't strain herself. And then obviously she would have to either sit up tall in order to neutralize the back again, or she could come to child's pose, depending on the gradation, the severity of the rounding. If she's really, really rounded, I would prefer her to just sit up nicely. Come and sit on this pillow back. And just focus on neutralizing again, because if we go forward again, she might go back into her old habit. If it's not that bad, we can put her in child's pose to neutralize, but this seems quite okay for me. And actually, I can already see, even though she was only in there for a few seconds and she doesn't have excessive rounding in the upper back, I can already see that she's straighter. I can just see it immediately. How do you feel?
I feel straight.
Right? And it was only like 2 minutes, so powerful. So that is how we work with hyperkyphosis. We do not focus on the opposite, but we focus on neutralizing, and then we focus on opening the chest. And this generally just really takes away the whole problem. Okay, in the next video, we're going to be working on a little bit of hyperlordosis. Namaste.